From the initial scare, which left half of the shelves empty, to the ongoing controversy about masks, vaccines, and passports, it's been one hell of a ride, which has tested the patience and the character of every single one of us, each with our own unique situation and set of circumstances. COVID 19 put all of us to the test to see exactly what we were made of, both in regards to all the hysteria, but also in how we treated others, both out in public and in the conversations that took place behind closed doors. Every single one of us was given an opportunity to be nice or harsh, to be understanding and show compassion, or to judge others for not having come to the same conclusions that we did. And now we get to reflect on it all. So whatever you did or whatever you said, I hope that it was nice, because with all of this uncertainty, I think there's only one thing that is for sure, and that is that we're all in this thing together. It's been a like it or not kind of situation, filled with fear and frustration, sickness and segregation, and it's been really hard on a lot of people. But you know what? Despite all the division and the chaos, it was through this very separation that brought so many people together in solidarity, saying things like, I've never felt so proud to be standing here amongst my fellow brothers and sisters, standing up for what we believe to be right. You know, like, what a mess. It was horrible to see people marginalized, condemned, looked down upon, and excluded. But you know what happens when you push someone? You can only do it so much until it ignites a flame in the belly of anyone who desires to be free. The more you oppress someone or something, the more reason you give it to stand tall and come into its own. Despite whatever you might think you can get away with, there's always a limit to how far you can encroach on the rights of an individual until they've had enough. Oppression always backfires because it is not the way. And if history has shown us anything, it is not to underestimate the human spirit, and that you can't stop progress. And so here we are, 2 years deep into a global pandemic, which has brought to the surface a host of issues for everybody to look at, think about, and realize, you know, like, wow, we gotta do better than this. But see, the thing is, most people quite simply don't know what to do or how to handle the situation. And so in place of the answers, we've had all this hand washing, sanitizing, restriction, social distancing, masks, vaccines, and passports. And all of which has done absolutely nothing to answer the big question of where this virus actually came from and who or what's to blame. Well, you know what they say about pointing fingers. I think a big part of the problem has been that with so much information going around, it's kind of hard to know what to believe. In a time where the institutions which people used to turn to for answers have proved themselves to be untrustworthy. It's like we've been left up to ourselves to figure it out, hence all the controversy. And so begs the question, how is it that we're supposed to be able to move beyond this experience and, more importantly, grow from it? No matter how you look at it, COVID happened for a reason. Meaning that there is something going on in the world that caused it, which needs to be addressed. And so we need to find out what that is, because this time, like all other times, will pass. And if we fail to identify the factors which contributed to the emergence of COVID-19 in the first place, then we run the very serious risk of missing the entire point of the exercise, thus leaving us needing to repeat the same class again sometime later down the road. And I don't think anybody wants that. And so if we want to prevent this kind of thing from ever happening again, then we need to hit the nail on the head and confront some of these underlying issues with which both plague our society and are at the heart of why this whole COVID thing happened in the first place. It's so important that it's ridiculous. And we don't want to miss this opportunity that we've been given because we were too busy arguing about masks, vaccines, and passports. And it's not that these things aren't important topics. They are. It's just that these things are not the problem. They are the result of the problem. And so now, as I understand it, this whole COVID thing didn't just happen overnight. It is the sum accumulation of everything that we've been through with all the aches and pains of a civilization and society that is coming into maturity. And there's no easy way for us to learn certain lessons. Sometimes you just got to do a few things wrong and so that you can learn to do it right. Of course, it could have happened differently, but that's beside the point because here we are now. And that's what's important. And so it is in our best interest to confront the issues head on. As you can see from the severity of what has happened with this global pandemic, the first, that most of us have ever seen like this, it is something that is so big, so widespread that it's beyond most people's ability to see because it's everywhere and it's normal. And I'm talking about the problem. It's everywhere and it's normal. Like everybody just wants things to go back to normal, but that's exactly what the problem is. The problem is what is normal. Meaning that there is a way of life that is so commonplace that it is not only, that has become not only acceptable, but it's like it's okay. When it clearly is not, if you take but a bit of time to investigate into it. There is a sickness in the world today, and I am not talking about COVID. Everybody knows it because it is evident in nearly every aspect of the way in which our society is run. Yeah. And now it's hard to break it down into just a few words, which is why I'm doing this in a series of videos. And so this is why I'm doing my best to separate it into a few pieces to see if I can make it a little more clear and easier to understand. You got to kind of lead up to some things. You can't just say it outright, or if it's out of context, you kind of got to set the stage to be able to talk about certain things in a certain way. And so on that note, I'm going to leave this right here. This is the second piece of the puzzle. And I'm going to follow this up with the next piece very soon. And it probably, something about like when will COVID end? And also then there's like, what are we going to do about it? These are aspects, and it's like, I know it's all the same thing and it seems like it, but it's like it's a complex issue, and it requires a complex answer. And so this is the way that has made sense for me to approach this. And so this is how we're gonna handle this, and what we're gonna do about it. So I'll leave with that, and peace.